What is up, guys? Welcome back to YouTube Relic, and today this is kind of like a part 2 to a video that I did like 5 days ago, and that video was front-loaded albums, but today we're going to be doing backloaded albums. So this is basically the opposite of front-loaded albums, albums that start off maybe not weak, but even good, but the second half always overshadows it, whatever reason. It is my favorite songs, it is the best songs, it is the singles, whatever reason. It's just albums with significantly better second halves than they have first halves. Front-loaded albums, I have maybe 20 of them in my collection. For albums that I believe are backloaded, however, I only have 6 here. Maybe a shorter video, but I'll go a bit more in depth on them as compared to what I did in the last video. So let's get into these 6 backloaded albums right after the intro.
Hands up.
Okay, guys, so that was the intro, and yeah, backloaded albums, here we go, part 2 of the last video. Let's go. My first backloaded album, of course they go in alphabetical order, because that's the order that I picked them out when I was looking through my collection. My first one that I have on here is the Beatles Magical Mystery Tour. So you might be thinking, the Beatles? Really? Yeah, the best band of all time. I love the sound. It's maybe like a 9.5 out of 10. The second half is a 10 out of 10, because it's a backloaded album. First half, maybe not so much. And I'll go more in depth with these since there's only 6 to make it at least like a 4-minute long video. But yeah, here are the track list. The title track, The Fool on the Hill, Flying, Blue Jay Way, Your Mother Should Know, I'm the Walrus, Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Baby You're a Rich Man, All You Need Is Love, and yeah, that's it. So, the reason I consider this to be a front-loaded album is not that the first half is bad. I don't think there's a bad song on the first half. It's that the second half has like 5 of the greatest songs of all time. Like, Hello Goodbye is such a nostalgic song. It's a fun little ditty. Strawberry Fields Forever and, like, All You Need Is Love are just some of the greatest songs, period. I love all those last 5 songs. And I'm the Walrus is the closer in the first half of the album, which is also another 10 out of 10. Like, those last 6 songs are 10 out of 10s. The problem is, like, despite me really liking The Fool on the Hill, never really got into Magical Mystery Tour. Flying's kind of boring, and Blue Jay Way, Mother Should Know are pretty corny. Sorry, I'm really having trouble speaking today. You might notice that, but we'll still get through this video. Yeah, that's why I think that it is front-loaded, because the second half is so darn good. The first half has a few Beatles duds, which means that they're still good songs, but a few Beatles duds. Yeah. And my second entry on this backloaded, I was about to say front-loaded. I might get them confused in this, but backloaded albums list is another classic. It's Bob Marley's Exodus, my favorite reggae album of all time. Of course, it's Bob Marley. Gotta love him, but you know, when you look at this track list, you probably know like half the songs on here, and they're all in the second half. The track listing here is Natural Mystic, So Much Things to Say, Swiftness, I think that says. It's in cursive, and I honestly can't read cursive. The Heaven, Exodus, Jamming, Waiting in Vain, Turn Your Lights Down Low, sorry, I can't read it. 3 Little Birds, and One Love / People Get Ready. So yeah, I absolutely love this album. It's just my favorite reggae album of all time. I love Bob Marley. And out of the 10 songs in here, 6 of them were released as singles. And those 6 songs, actually just like Magical Mystery Tour, all the singles from the album are both, they just pile them on at the end. And the first 4 songs, I've really never liked The Heathen, the 4th track. But the first 3 tracks I do like a lot. I just never really liked The Heathen. But it's the fact that the second half is some of the best reggae songs of all time. Exodus, the title track, 7 minutes. My favorite Bob Marley song, Exodus. Do, 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 do. I love that. And of course, Jamming, that's just a classic, one of his biggest songs. Waiting in Vain, Turn Your Lights Down Low, those are all both very, like, kind of, like, experimental hits from Bob Marley. And of course, 3 Little Birds and One Love / People Get Ready. Those 2 are just classics in his discography. That's why I think that it's front-loaded, because the second half, again, is just so darn good. Which later down the road on these albums, maybe it's the first half I actually don't really like that much, but these first 2 albums, it's because the second half is just that good. And now we'll get into some more variety here. There was kind of like a break in front-load albums in my collection, but yeah, in the second half of the alphabet, you got some more. And next up in my backloaded albums list, I feel like I might have said front-loaded, I don't know though, I have Linkin Park's Meteora. Everyone is always like, this is the superior album, The Hybrid Theory. No, it is not. It is, like, not. It's a great album. I'd give it, like, an 8.5 out of 10, but it's not a 10 out of 10 like Hybrid Theory is. And I'll tell you why. The first 2 tracks. Forward, I always thought they didn't need it, and Don't Stay is honestly one of my least favorite Linkin Park tracks. The songs on here are Forward, Don't Stay, Somewhere I Belong, Lying From You, Hit the Floor, Easier to Run, Faint, Figure.09, Breaking the Habit, From the Inside, Nobody's Listening, Session, and Numb. Yeah, this is the enhanced art edition that's like $20 on Amazon. I got it at one of my favorite music stores for only $5, so let's go. And it is used, but it wasn't like this because I dropped it one time. But yeah, so yeah, Forward again, it's just like 13 seconds, but it is my least favorite track lamb because I don't think it does much. They really don't need it. And then Don't Stay. The guitar riff I never found very interesting, and I think it's actually annoying. Like the Don't Stay, Forget All Memories. I've always thought that was kind of corny. I don't know. But then after that, it is, like, without those two tracks, it's basically on par with Hybrid Theory. I just think Hybrid Theory is a perfect album. It's that good. Like, the singles on here are arguably better than Hybrid Theory. I'll give you that. It's the deep cuts and mostly those first two tracks, which I guess it's not necessarily a backloaded album. It's just the fact that the two worst songs are at the beginning and the only two songs that I don't like. I never really liked Hit the Floor or Figure.09, but they're a lot better than those first two tracks. But it really is the second half where this thing gets so much better. Breaking the Habit, one of their best tracks. Absolutely love that one. From the Inside is another great one. Nobody's Listening, really underrated Mike Shinoda track. It's a great rapping and a really sick beat. I actually really like that one. Session, I like the Cure for the Itch, like the DJ scratching track on Hybrid Theory more, but it's still great. And of course, Numb. Yeah, it's backloaded. Not the most backloaded, but hey, it's still worth a listen. I just don't like Don't Stay. That's pretty much the problem there. The next one, in a similar new metal genre, I was about to say we got Slipknot's Volume 3, Subliminal Verses. Their third album. I don't know if you guys know this, but like the first Slipknot album, which even though I did feature it in my front-loaded albums list, it's still one of my favorite albums of all time. Slipknot, though, for me, after the first album, it takes a pretty steep decline. This is maybe my second favorite album by them, though. And, yeah, here are the tracks. Prelude 3.0, The Blister Exists, 3-0, Duality, Opium of the People, Circle, Welcome, Vermilion, Pulse of the Maggots, Before I Forget, Vermilion Part 2, The Nameless, Virus of Life, Danger, Keep Away. So this is when they go in a more alternative direction. And I think it's alright. But there's 14 tracks, and the first 7, there's only one that I really get into. And that one is Duality, the big hit, I know. But it is a great track. I also do like, The Blister Exists, but the prelude we could do with that. I don't like Circle. I don't like Welcome that much. So I think for Slipknot, honestly, they didn't do the most in the first half. But the reason why I do really like this project, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10, is the second half. As I said, Duality, Blister Exists, those are great tracks in the first half. But man, the second half, Vermilion, Pulse of the Maggots, one of their best heavy tracks. Before I Forget, maybe my favorite Slipknot song, the guitar riffs in it. I love the lyrics. I will remember before I forget. It is amazing. Maybe one of my top 20 favorite songs ever. Vermilion Part 2. Some say it's cringe. I love it. It's a great acoustic track. And Danger Keep Away is a great closer. I just think those the second half of this thing's amazing, along with Duality. But yeah, the first half, I think, drags on a bit. But that second half, man, makes the album very strong. And next up, despite this being one of my favorite bands of all time, and it is my least favorite album by them, but it's still a great album. I think all of this band's albums are like at least 7.5 out of 10. I have System of a Down, Hypnotize. Yeah. And this album is great, but it is my least favorite System of a Down album by pretty wide margins still. But, hey, it is backloaded. And I think they end off very strong, but I'll read the tracks here. Attack, Dreaming, Kill Rock and Roll, Hypnotize, Stealing Society, Tentative, You Fig, Holy Mountains, Vicinity of Obscenity in Her Eyes, She's Like Heroin, Lonely Day, and Soldier Side. 12 tracks. For System of a Down album, it's maybe their most compact album, and this is when they're the most vulgar and crazy, I'd say, for their final album. So, yeah, it is backloaded. One of the more backloaded albums on this list, I'd say, because yeah, there's just not many backloaded albums. If you're gonna, load an album in one half, most choose the first half so you can start out strong and hook people in. But, yeah, my problem with this album is the very beginning. Attack, Dreaming, I've never liked those songs. I just don't. They're some of my least favorite Systems tracks to this day. Kill Rock and Roll and Hypnotized, I do like those songs very much, but they're still not my favorite. But then you get into some of their absolute best tracks. Tentative, such an underrated track. Holy crap, Holy Mountains is one of the best songs of all time. That is a killer song. just how it's so atmospheric, and then you go to the liar, killer, and then that beautiful chorus, amazing. Vicinity of Vicinity, maybe their most System of a Down track. It's so crazy. Terracotta Pie, I absolutely love that song. And then Lonely Day and Soldier Side, two very like melodic and serious songs to end off the album are great. Yeah, the first like 5 tracks I'm not the biggest fan of, and then it's just all amazing. Even though I might not like She's Like Heroin the most either, the whole second half is a lot better than the first half, and it's still a great album, even if it is my least favorite System of a Down album. But we're not talking about the discography today. And this last album that I'm going to be mentioning is barely backloaded, but it's actually probably my favorite glam rock album of all time, or glam metal, whatever you want to say. White Line's Pride. Yeah, this is a great album. It is probably my favorite hair metal album. The track listing on this I'll read is Hungry, Lonely Nights, Don't Give Up, Sweet Little Loving, Lady of the Valley, Wait, All You Need Is Rock and Roll, Tell Me, All Join Our Hands, and When the Children Cry. Yeah. So the first half of this thing, I really like the riff in Hungry, but that's about it. And like I love all the songs on this album, like they're all at least an 8 out of 10, except for Don't Give Up. I think it's really annoying. They're like, don't give up. I don't like it that much. It's like a 4 or 5 out of 10. But everything else on here is amazing. But I still think just because Don't Give Up is in the first half and my favorite tracks by the band are in the second half, yeah, that's why I'm going to do it. Like, Lady of the Valley, the 5th track. I don't know if that's the first or the second half. I'm going to give it to the first, though. It's 6.5 minutes, and it's like progressive track. I absolutely love that song so much. Cool album cover, too. Really underrated band. And then, of course, Wait, like the big single off here, is an amazing track. Tell Me is another single. Then track 10, When the Children Cry. It's a beautiful ballad. It truly is. One of the songs that moves me emotionally the most. Like, truly. And I just think those 4 songs being in the second half is already a reason to put this as a backloaded album. And those are, like, 4 of my favorite White Lion songs. It's a great album. I just think the second half overshadows the first half quite a bit, actually. So yeah, that is my list of the 6 front-loaded albums, backloaded albums. I told you I was going to get them mixed up. I'm sure I did it earlier in the video as well. And with front-loaded albums, you often put the singles first, which is why I said lots of the front-loaded albums when I was like looking at all of them lacked deep cuts. These don't lack deep cuts. I just think for backloaded albums, I just prefer the back more than the front. It's different than front-loaded albums, but I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Upcoming next, I'm going to do a video involving the rap beef. And then I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. Probably going to do some band rankings later this month. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this front-loaded album video.
Backloaded. I can't believe I got it wrong again. See.
Thanks for watching this video. Now look at this person. And again, thank you for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe, even though Burlick is bad. Anyways, bye.